We're going to start with breaking news at the Supreme Court at this hour. The justices are hearing oral arguments right now in the Trump-Colorado ballot case. They're deciding whether the former president can be off of the Republican primary ballot because of his efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
Now, the Colorado case could have broad implications if, in fact, Trump loses, because other states could follow suit, and then they could ban Trump from that ballot. Now, obviously, that would place major hurdles in the way of the former president's attempt to regain the White House. NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor joins us now from outside the Supreme Court. Yamiche, our understanding of this particular case is whether or not what happened on January 6th actually qualifies as an insurrection, but who gets to determine that qualification? What are we learning in terms of both of those points from the oral arguments today?
Well, good afternoon on this historic day at the Supreme Court. We really have been hearing arguments from lawyers on both sides of this issue of whether or not former President Trump should and can appear on the ballot, the Republican primary ballot in Colorado. First up was a lawyer for former President Trump. He was arguing very clearly that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment in the Constitution should not apply to the former president. Take a listen to him talking to Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
For an insurrection, there needs to be an organized, concerted effort to overthrow the government of the United States through violence. And this
So the point is that a chaotic effort to overthrow the government is not an insurrection?
No, we didn't concede that it's an effort to overthrow the government either, Justice Jackson. Right? None of these criteria were met. This was a riot. It was not an insurrection. The events were shameful, criminal, violent, all of those things, but it did not qualify as insurrection, as that term is used in Section 3.
So there you heard the lawyer for former President Trump arguing that what happened was not an insurrection, also arguing that he's also not an officer of the United States, which again is part of that section of the Constitution. Now, we've also heard from a lawyer who is representing the Colorado residents who brought this legal challenge, and he said very clearly that he believes that former President Trump is an insurrectionist, that he should be barred from holding office, and that the founders of this country were focused on people like former President Trump, who he believes tried to disenfranchise millions of Americans. Morgan, Vicky.
Yamiche, for now, Trump remains on the Colorado primary ballot. The state's primary is coming up March 5th. What's the timeline for how quickly the Supreme Court could issue a ruling on this and what it might mean for other states?
Well, that date, Colorado's primary election, is going to be critical here. March 5th, Super Tuesday. Legal experts believe that this is going to end up being a case that's going to move pretty quickly, they believe, through the Supreme Court because we have such a hard timeline going up against. So it could be that we hear about the answer to this question of whether or not he will be on the ballot in a matter of weeks here, Vicky.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.